Thank you. It's fantastic. I too would like to pay my respects to the elders past and present. And as I said, my name's Darren Halloran. My daytime job is I work for National Parks and Wildlife Service, and I've been there for 27 years. But I'm more honoured to be one of the patrons of the Syron's Cooking Place. Thank you for coming tonight, all and everyone, to support our quest to find a safe home for these wonderful artworks. I first met Gordon and his lovely wife Elaine when they moved next door to me at Middlehead as part of artists in residence. And it first occurred to me that Gordon was a person of great character. He always shoots straight, excuse the pun, and he's a man that I very much admire, and I've learned to love dearly. As I came across tonight, and I drove through Annandale with my two boys here, and we saw some fantastic old churches and stuff, and we started talking about Harry Potter and his magnificent wand. And I thought, Gordon Syron is my Harry Potter with his magnificent paintbrush. And he's a man that can, when he paints it, it lifts off the canvas and it tells wonderful stories. And I really enjoy his paintings, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come. I'd like to introduce you now to Dr. Jeff McMullen, former 60 Minutes ABC director and director of the Ian Ford Foundation for Youth, a well-known writer and official speaker for the Northern Territory protest against the intervention. Over to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Darren. Casey, thank you for the welcome to country. We were talking a little earlier and how strong it is to have a child who understands that where we're walking now is Gadigal country. But out under these stars on a night like this, for longer than anyone really knows, somebody has been meeting, walking, thinking, and sharing the stories. And Casey said, and I know that before there were galleries and paintbrushes and paints in a shop, that people around here were painting the stories. And so Gordon is in a very long tradition of giving voice to the things that are meaningful about being of this country. But our passion, I'm sure, that unites everyone that has come tonight is a sense that this collection that Gordon and Elaine have worked so hard to keep together is one of the few ways we have to make the country see the Aboriginal way of seeing, to connect people to the history, the longer timelines of our history, and the complex part of our history that still, through the process of denial and disinformation and propaganda and relentless oppression, makes it very hard for people out in this society to understand how Aboriginal people think, how they see life today, how they understand the past, let alone what their vision is for where we are heading, where as a shared society, as someone, Gordon, I think, constantly tries to share with us the truth of how Aboriginal people see not only the past, but the country around us, the beauty and the real quality of what it is to be Australian. The strength of this collection, when you get to the top room, is that it is a coherent, accurate expression of decades of Aboriginal thinking and feeling of not only of the oppression, but of the resilience and of the strength and of the beauty of Aboriginal life, community life, family life, individuals, and of that connection to country. You can feel this as you walk through these paintings and 1,000 more that are part of Elaine and Gordon's extraordinary effort to not only for preservation, but because there are few other ways in this country to connect people to this truth. As someone who is a storyteller, I'm constantly aware that I can be somewhere like the 40th anniversary of the Tent Embassy in Canberra, and that very evening on television or the next day in the newspapers, I would look at my family who are with me and say, is this a parallel universe? Are we really talking about the same event, the same place? These paintings constantly go to what actually happened. What is the connection? What was that all about when an event happened? And so Gordon's barbed wire, Gordon's first boat people, Gordon's indictment of invasion and theft of land and dispossession, and then the generational denial of a black digger who comes home having put his life on the line for this country, and yet to be standing on the road wondering, will anybody give me a ride home? These paintings are very truthful stories that you don't see easily in this country. They aren't in the front shop. They're not in the top part of the syllabus. You've got to search for it. You've got to search it out when you're a child, or you will grow up still with your head full of denial. And then you're a man or a woman out of kilter. You know, you will never make sense of what is going on now if you don't know this history. Now, sadly, if you have a look at Tracker magazine this month, a great brother, a great fighter for Aboriginal rights, Gary Foley, who is not ill, who is not well this week, who has been ill. But Gary was talking about how many of these great people, like Monk Shaw, or all of the others, who you want Australia to know and appreciate, that these are great people in our national story. And yet, sadly, but for this art and this effort by Aboriginal people, they can be not only forgotten, but their full contribution to the life of this country would never be appreciated. This is a magnificent painting to, having known that woman in the streets, having seen what she meant to a whole community, having known what she is still to the movement towards equality and justice in this country, this collection that Gordon and Elaine are giving their life to keep together is the only way that I can see that many of these people will be constantly positioned in their rightful place in the story of Australia, of this country. So keeping the keeping place is a great passion for so many now. The effort that you've made, Darren and Mel, to see children as young as this appreciate these paintings by taking them into schools, by letting schools have the opportunity to, in a way, become patrons of this keeping place by purchasing a painting, keeping it in the school until a building emerges, a place emerges, and these paintings can stay together in all of their glory, all 1,000 of them, making more sense of the story. That was a great effort that you made. And Josie Cashman, who couldn't be here tonight, is working on another scale of an idea to try to see this happen, to make sure that someday, somewhere, there will be an institution. There will be a place when you fly into this country that clearly any visitor understands this is an Aboriginal land. And you will see in that place, the keeping place, the story assembled with all of its context, authenticity, and those longer timelines of history that we're still in denial of. Gordon, your contribution to that, and Elaine in struggling to keep this together. This is a private collection of so many brilliant artists, from painters to sculptors to poster political art. There is here the strength, the beauty and the diversity of all of those voices through a very long period of the struggle. So thank you to the Vanishing Point, but let's not leave the keeping place to vanish. Let's make sure this is carried through to the future. Thank you.